All right, we are back. Left foot, right foot. We are going to recap day 2 and 3. We actually are wrapping up day 3 here. We're about to go to the Milonga after this. So what do you think of? We'll start with because we went to we skipped the last time we missed the Milonga and the performance. What do you think about day one's Milonga, first the opening night?
Opening night in Milonga, I had a great time. It was actually there was a lot more people than I thought there would be because typically I like dancing on day one, especially if it's a Thursday, because there's a lot of room. There's a lot of room to move, um, and it's usually the diehards who only show up on like day zero and day one. So I was really zoned in on Thursday being the day I want to dance, and it was great. But in addition to that, I was amazed by how many people actually showed up. It was actually pretty full, bigger than I thought it would, that I totally expected it to be.
Yeah, it definitely was, and I think that I kind of counter that. I think the diehards usually come on Friday night, like they don't come on a Thursday,
Mm,
typically. That's usually what I've seen. But yeah, I think the level was of dancing was pretty high for a Thursday,
yeah,
and I thought the music was good. I thought June did a good job as a DJ.
yeah. You know what? I think June is not only a great DJ, but she's a consistently solid DJ. Because there are tons of DJs who do festivals where like they're great, and then like every once in a while there's a big flop.
Yeah, like hit or miss DJs,
Yeah,
right?
so
She's very consistent,
she's very
yeah, and
consistent.
that's
So
coming from both of us that DJ.
yeah,
So.
so June, great job. Love seeing you in action.
The performance was Octavio and Karina.
Yeah, you know, I haven't seen Octavio and Karina in 8 years. It's been about 8 years since I came to LA,
Yeah.
and I see a lot of growth when I saw them from 8 years ago. Just basically because when I saw them 8 years ago, I know a lot of people. I don't know. It could be one of two things. One, that I grew, so I started seeing
Of
things.
course, that's it.
You know,
Yes.
uh, 8 years ago, I was like a dumbass who was like, oh, I know everything. So I love seeing their flow. I love seeing their energy. There's like it's obviously great connection, because they didn't seem choreographed. Like, because sometimes even with professionals, uh, even if it's choreographed, it seems choreographed because everything just seems marked like they're not connected,
Like when
or
they're
like
even though they're improvising, it
yeah,
seems choreo.
because like they're not facing each other, or like they're not like responding to each other, or they have it in their head because they're thinking about the music. Like, it just sometimes even with professional performers, they seem elsewhere. But Octavio and Chris, I thought they did a great job, and um, yeah, it was totally like I think it was totally improvised.
It's just interesting because when I took their workshops, and I remember when they came here first in LA, their first time here in LA, all the really good dancers were telling me Octavio and Karina, and they were like they're truly this. They love their dancing and they love their improvisation and the way they move. This like genius level. And I would say even though I was pretty young into my tango life per se, I was still pretty impressed.
Yeah,
I loved the classes at the time, but now, right, since now I'm in year 12 of tango,
yeah,
I really see this like the difference, right? I really see like wow, like this is truly like if you were to take like social tango and put it in a like in a pure form and genuine form, like what dancing truly is, right? I like that they displayed it like on Thursday night. They displayed that magic of you don't know what's gonna happen, but like you're there and it looks totally in the moment. Like it's in
yeah,
sync. They move together. Their musicality is great, and so I thought it was one of the best performances I've seen
yeah,
live,
yeah,
honestly. And I've seen a lot of live performances. I was really mesmerized.
yeah,
I just really like true improvisation,
yeah,
and I know that a lot of people tell me that Octavio, because he didn't like he comes from like the barrio, he comes from the neighborhood, right? He comes from the Malangas, he comes from like dancing socially, and you
mhm,
just see that in the performance, right? You just see that in their connection together. Like they have that thing that
yeah,
you just like we love in social
yeah.
dancing, and it was awesome.
And that's something interesting too, because you said he's coming from the barrios. Because like that's what I see as dancing. It's what I love about it is that it's raw.
Yeah,
It's very
exactly. It's
raw.
not trying to be something.
Yeah.
It's like it's his thing.
But what I want to point out is that like we look at, let's say, like really good performers. We look at like this classical style. It's very clean. It's very
Mm.
um, And even with some things that would normally annoy me,
Mhm.
like Octavio's embrace, I think that he actually pulls his shoulders up to the point where you can actually see a crease on his suit
Mm.
jacket. You know, like it actually comes up.
Mm.
But even with that, like just the amount of energy and like connection he had in it, it overcame what would normally annoy me.
Well, because I think he's not trying to hold a form, like he's not trying to be a style. He's not
Yeah,
trying to, and so it comes off very flowing and free
it
and
does.
playful, and I think dirty, like you would say, right?
Yeah,
Like that's what like like because we think of tango and like it's like evolved and it's became a product of like a lot of different things,
yeah,
and so a lot of people try to mold their thing to
yeah,
be whatever. Like you want to mold your thing for salon or de pista now, or you want to mold your thing for the stage,
yeah.
right? But what if there weren't those things, right? And you just had to form your own personality. Your dance was your own unique thing, and that comes back to the a lot of the pioneers
Yeah.
per se of Argentine tango.
But like I would actually say one other thing I would actually go beyond that is saying that it's like he's so good that he knows how to break the rules. Or like any other person, like you have to stay within the lines, you know,
Right,
like don't raise your shoulders. Cause I
right.
get grilled on that, like, Robert, don't raise your shoulders. Cause like, you know, you look weak. Uh, you know, he made it work for him. And like, he knew how to break the rules and he did a phenomenal job. And just to show how much of a genius he is on the dance floor.
You know what I also noticed? Like I noticed the gentleness in the embrace.
Mm,
Like I can see the embrace breathe. And
yeah.
that's like that's so rare because you see even like the top professionals, right? You'll see moments where it's like you see the tension, you
Hmm.
see that, and like for them, I felt like they breathe together on the stage in front of like hundreds, and they're able to do that, and that's very difficult, right? This embrace the silence and smooth, and like this, I was really impressed.
So here's a funny thing because you mentioned something that I see now, but the average person, let's say me in year 3, year 5,
Right. You're just looking for sequences and
well,
flashy applaud. Like there was cool.
yeah, but so how can you tell this person like this guy's great, and they're like, I don't see it,
Hmm.
you know? And is greatness so esoteric?
It's interesting because when we talk about improvisation, how many of us do we truly improvise in the moment,
Mhm.
right? Or do we have patterns and sequences built in our dance already that we just kind of fall into all the time?
Yeah,
And so is that really improvising? In a way it is, and in a way it isn't,
yeah,
you know? And I feel like out there, like he doesn't like sure you might see some similar elements that he does. Like and I'm talking about both of them, Karina and Octavio, but you see similar elements, but you can see the moments that it takes. There's like a little bit of like give and take. There's a little bit of lead, like you can see the lead and follow so clearly,
yeah,
and it's just I just was wow. It's just so rare,
yeah,
especially in a big moment like a festival
yeah.
performance, like because that's big. You know,
It
you
is.
have other. It's different if you're the only performer, and but it's and you don't have to worry about anything else. But when you're in your lineup and you have to showcase your dance, and you know that there's other professionals in the lineup, and that they're all also going to perform, and you're kind of going to be held to a certain standard.
Yeah.
That's different when you're dancing in front of your peers, right?
Yes. So here's the other thing. So they did great, and let's just call them the opening act because like, they kind of were. You know, the first day. Now day 2 we have Dante Roxana, and uh, you know they did. I thought they did amazing. But did you think that they met and actually elevated, took that energy that Octavio gave and took it to the next level, or do you think that Octavio was a hard number to follow?
Octavio and Karina were great. I love Karina's playfulness too. Not to not talk about Karina. Like we're speaking from a leader's perspective because we're both mainly leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciated Dante Sanchez and Roxana Suarez's performance for the fact that I know that they aren't a performing couple together.
Mm-hmm.
And when you bring even two all-star dancers, right, two really well-renowned dancers, and Dante Sanchez, a Mundial winner, and Roxana Suarez, one of the most famous tango dancers, there's no guarantee that that's going to work,
No.
right? When we've seen this,
Yeah,
right? We've seen this from other couples, right? You put two powerhouses that they have two different styles, they have two different things, and sometimes it doesn't fit.
yeah,
And I felt like it meshed pretty well, and I thought that I really got to see a different side of Roxana
Yeah.
dancing with Dante because I'm a huge fan of Sebastian Achaval and Roxana Suarez, and I love their dancing. And I've watched countless and countless of videos, performances, taken lessons from them, and you kind of see Roxana in a certain way, right? When she's dancing with Sebastian, when she was dancing with Dante, I was, for whatever reason, paying more attention to Roxana,
Mm.
right?
Do you think it was because she has more of a voice and she has more freedom now, or what do you think it was?
That's a good question, right? I don't know. Maybe it's that I've evolved and I'm biased, right? Because I seen Roxana with Sebastian, so I'm kind of looking to see if it's anything different.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, she looked like it was cool. It was a different. It was a different version of Roxana that I'm not used to.
Yeah.
See, it's kind of hard to explain, but it was just different. But I really enjoyed it.
For me, I think it was more like she had this self-discovery of her own power. You know, uh, I know many times. I'm not saying this is the case for Roxana and Sebastian because I don't know, you know, their training method or how they got together, but I know that when I train with some people, it's very difficult because the leads end up being like my way or the highway. You're gonna do this, and then the lady's voice gets dwarfed. And that was one of the things when we compare it to, let's say, someone like Javier Rodriguez, who's trying to showcase the woman.
Right.
And sometimes it's like, sometimes even if you try to showcase the woman, if she doesn't take it, it ends up being like, oh, okay, this is very basic, this is very clean, all kudos, but what makes this person so special? Sometimes you don't see it. So I think that Roxana really displayed like her newfound power. It's like this is me. It's like a rebirth. So that's how I kind of saw it.
That's interesting. Okay, what about what are we into? Oh, we didn't even cover the
Classes or
the classes. Well, I mean, the classes and the workshops have been great. I mean, it's no surprise there. I mean, we have just a great lineup. I remember when Juliana announced the lineup for this, I was just like, wow, that is a monster lineup.
It's like for me, like I'm just here for the classes, but and the Malanga and the championships were just the cherry on top.
Right.
If we just had the classes, this is like a, an anti-marathon, like full on, like 4-day workshops only, like just train and sleep, I'd be happy.
Okay, but that's an interesting segue, right? What about the people that just want to come for the social dancing? They're not taking the workshops, like don't care about the workshops, don't care about the competition.
Well, I'd say they're missing out.
I would say they're missing out too, but is this a place for the regular social dancer who not interested in those things?
Yeah, I would say because like look at these DJs. We have we've got great afternoon DJs. We had Gabriel Hurricane. He's a great DJ. I think he's a great DJ.
Gabby's great.
Yeah. You had Eve. I didn't listen to
I was
to
there
Eve,
for
but,
each set. It was great. I caught the last hour after the workshop.
Yeah. Octavio DJ'd last night, and this is an interesting thing. Generally, I do not like the typical Argentine party where it's like it's very loose. It's like it's anything goes. House party in a festival setting.
Right.
Generally I don't like that, but I really enjoyed last night, even though there was like a cumbia Congo line. Generally
it was Jonathan's birthday.
I know it's Jonathan's birthday, but here's the thing. I'm just saying, generally I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of fun last night, even with all the things that normally annoy me. I still it was a great night for myself, and I think a lot of people could have enjoyed it. Unless the only downside I could see is that if you're not getting any dances, you're a little cold, you're waiting for another dance, and then you have to sit through a 20-minute Cumbia Congo line.
Yes.
I see that. So if you are able to get dances, or if you were able to secure your dances, you have that ability, I think there's a lot of room for you and a lot of things for you to do at this festival.
Right.
But I think this is hard. Like, I don't want to say this, but sometimes there are people who have trouble getting the dances that they want.
Right.
And they have a hard time doing that at the local Malanga, and they have these high expectations. Like, I'm gonna this is a big event. There's like, the stars are going online. They put so much into a big event because it's advertised as that, and it's a great event. But then their expectations are raised, and then they're still, they're still not, they're having the same difficulties as a local Malanga, and I think because of how stellar the event is, it exacerbates that pain even more.
Yeah, well, people want to get their value,
Yeah.
right? People want to, like at a buffet, they want to get their money's worth,
Yeah.
right? In that sense, they want quantity,
Yeah.
right? They want dances, they want nonstop dances,
Yeah.
and when you go to a milonga and you don't get those things, and you just kind of like, so here's the thing, like I love the breaks where there's like other dance styles, swing music, cumbia music, like it's super fun,
Yeah.
right? But if that drags out long enough, it really puts a damper on someone's ability to get a lot of quantity.
Yeah.
Right? Because sure, there'll be like maybe even if there's like 40 or 50 people on the dance floor when you play the cumbia song and they're like having fun, they're like getting down, right?
Yeah.
There's like 300 other people that are sitting out waiting for like, can you please play tango because we can't dance cumbia,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then here's the other thing. So going back to the whole, if you have trouble getting dances in your local Malanga, and you might also have trouble getting dances at a festival.
Right.
We have the Lamborghini taxi service. They're there. You could pay for a taxi. You get out there with really professional dancers and have the time of your life.
Sure, that's great.
But I'm wondering, like, does that kind of make a pay to play situation?
I mean, people look, if you want to pay, sometimes it's worth it to pay, right? So I'll like take a video game, right?
Yeah.
If I don't want to invest 500 hours to level up my character to level 50, and you're telling me I just have to pay $100 to get my character from level 1 to level 50, I will pay that $100 to save 500 hours of my life of grinding that character.
Yeah. But so I agree with you. But then you hear the flip side. People just kind of go, "Oh, nobody wants to do that because they don't want to admit to themselves that they had to do that, like their tango isn't good enough or something like that."
What do you mean? I mean, I think the people that are providing the service, right, obviously want to provide the service for their own livelihood and income, right?
Yeah.
And the people that are taking the service obviously want that because they're getting experience that they probably can't get without the monetary value.
Yeah. So would you say the stigma of taxi dancing is kind of going away?
I think that there's never been really a stigma.
Really? I always thought there was a bit of a stigma.
No, I mean it's a little bit more in your face now. I think like I like that that the Lamborghini taxi service is kind of just really upfront about it.
Yeah.
And so people like it. I think that offers more accessibility.
Yeah.
Right, because I think before there was a lot of taxis things going on. People just didn't. It's under the table.
Yeah, it was very clandestine. Like you had to know. Like a friend of a friend had to refer you, and this guy would walk in, and it was like But so I do agree. I think it's great that that Lamborghini taxi service is out there. It's out. They're out in the open. This is our rates. You have these professionals you can dance with, and pick a number and we'll get to you. I think that's great.
Yeah.
All right. So I definitely think the stigma of taxi dancing. Like I think the Lamborghini taxi service has definitely helped combat the stigma of taxi dancing.
Right.
For me, I have a little bit of a love-hate with taxi dancing.
Why?
Just because it's like, sometimes
What could you possibly hate about taxi? It doesn't really affect you, right?
it doesn't affect me, but sometimes like I feel that, I don't know, it's almost like, I guess because I always came from like being community oriented, and it's almost like
people should do things willingly.
People should pitch in sometimes, yeah?
I think people pitch in all the time.
Okay, well, I know, but maybe I guess sometimes it feels like maybe we're not doing enough. Yeah, that could be a criticism because like sometimes sometimes I feel when it comes to leads helping the community, it's kind of like being in that group project where that's that one guy or two guys carries the weight of everybody, and then like everyone's like slacking off.
But that's our society in a nutshell.
It is our society.
We have very few innovators, and they make everything work.
No, you're right about that, but I guess it's just my idealism that comes forward. It's like it's sometimes like yeah, I look back, I'm like, come on guys, we can do better. We really can. We're a good we're very hospitable people. Really, we're a fun community.
But that's a good segue, right? Like, what could we do better for this festival or marathons in general? Like, judging from SCTC, what could they do better next year?
Mm. Well, first, I think Yuli has spent a lot. Every year, this festival has gotten better. The competition has gotten better.
I mean, we started the Argentine Association in Burbank, 2015.
Was it was it there or was it at
It was
downtown?
there.
Was it downtown dance?
That was the second year. That's the Yar one, so
Okay.
2016.
So yeah, so we did start Argentina.
And
It's
now
gotten
that's a local Malanga venue, so that just shows you how far that.
yeah
that's.
yeah. No, I'm just saying every year it's gotten better. It's gotten bigger. She brings in more people.
Mhm.
I think that next year is gonna be just bigger and better. But what can we do? That's a tough one because you know what? I'm already loving it. You know,
I love it, but I think the dance floor definitely needs to be bigger,
the dance floor does need to be bigger, but also it's
for sure.
so here's the thing. I know the dance floor is the size it is because one, the space.
Right.
Two, there's a certain amount of tables that are there. So, should we get rid of tables and increase the space? What's more important, tables or floor space?
Hmm. I mean, obviously, as a person that never pays for tables, I'm gonna say floor space, but that's because I'm biased, right? Because I
Yeah.
never pay for tables.
And also, we're biased because we're guys, because it's like we're the ones like running around sniping here and there. Like, where I mean, I don't know many guys. Like I'm only sitting down to rest my feet. If you see me sit down, I'm not ready to dance. But if I'm ready to dance, I'm walking. I'm walking, turning corners. I'm not static.
Right.
So I think that's a thing. It's like I don't think I have of course we're biased, and two, um, I don't think I understand that side of needing a table.
Right, because like, how often are all of us gonna be sitting down at the same time?
Well, it depends how big the floor is, because if the floor is really big, we all should be dancing,
Right.
right? But if the floor is not that big, there's and because maybe I'm gonna wait it out, and maybe we want that. Maybe she wants that liveliness because if I know that it's gonna be really packed, maybe I might not show up till 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's what I've been doing. That's pretty much.
you know, and it's hard because you know what? I'm the guy who I like to show up at the very beginning.
And I'm the guy that shows up the last 2 hours.
Yeah, and it's like so. My first few times are great, but then I got to slog it out and wait until like that until things thin out. So maybe it's like I have that touch and go. Like I go for the first like half hour, and then it's like I think I should leave, get some dinner or something, go to hang out, and then come back at like 1. But but maybe it could be like Carmageddon, where like we all think that, and then like the floor's empty for like 3 hours. So part of me just feels like, well, that's the other thing. I also like to show up early because I like to dance with new dancers, like that people I've never seen or met before.
I mean,
like
that's what hopefully our mission is.
Yeah, but like I think it's easier to spot those people when it's more sparse, and especially in the very beginning. At least it is for me, because I think in the end people start like congregating into their groups, and then it's like, okay, now it's hard to break in and dance with someone who I've never seen before, never met before, and maybe it's like there's that defensive wall of her group of friends, where I think in the very beginning they're more eager to dance while the floor is empty. It's easier for me to try out new people and maybe get my cabeceo accepted.
What do you think about the hotel space? I mean, this is the first year SCTC has the hotel space.
Hotels are really expensive, but I think hotels are worth it.
It's just so convenient, right?
It is very convenient, and this is my hometown, so I know the area fairly well.
Mhm.
So everything is within like a 15-minute drive from me.
Yeah.
If I really want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I've been showing friends around like the local like hole in the walls and things like that.
Right.
But one of the things I like about this is that compared to boutiques, the room separation.
Why do you always say boutiques?
I say boutiques because I think I don't want to say like local stuff because I want to make it sound more fancy.
Okay.
And
dance halls or the dance.
Yeah, the local dance halls. But the hotels, they have separate rooms. So it makes the classes a lot more convenient because when you have the local dance halls, you have a lot of mixing of music. So I think this was a good move that Juliana made to go towards the hotels because I'm very class focused and I love to have a class where I don't have conflicting music from the next class with a next door with a thin wall that separates us.
Yeah, that's always a problem, right? Like the instructor next door has a Malanga class, and you're doing like
Yeah,
that's
and it's like the battle of volumes, and one guy has a microphone, the other one doesn't. You're like, oh, I chose the wrong class. Like you're trying to do something and you're hearing like the instructions from the other class. You're like,
Yeah,
So
that isolation has been great.
yeah,
I would also say that they really decorated that space and made it feel like a non-hotel venue.
yeah.
Because usually you go to a hotel and it feels like white walls everywhere and it just feels blank and sterile and dead.
So here's the question though. I mean, it's actually kind of funny coming from you because you don't like decorations, but
True, I could care less. About dance,
no.
dancing in the hotel, wherever, it doesn't matter.
But
Subway, we're dancing in the subway.
well,
As
that'd
long
be
as there's good
interesting.
dancers.
But I mean, how's that different from dance halls? Because all dance halls, also, well, a lot of dance halls, let's say like our local women's club like last year, or like it's just another white wall. The one thing I do miss is I do miss the vaulted ceiling.
Right. The ceilings are a little lower, but I think the chandeliers really make up for it.
The
Like,
chandeliers do make,
chandeliers are nice, and they put balloons everywhere,
yeah,
and that's been great.
it has. But even though I like the vaulted ceilings, mainly for heat and other reasons, but there is there is a difficulty with vaulted ceilings, especially with sound.
That's
So
true. But
so
I haven't really had any sound issues.
well, not here because we don't have vaulted ceilings.
You mean with vaulted
Yeah,
ceilings?
so
Okay.
we talk about, let's say, like the women's club, there was definitely a sound issue.
Yeah, the echo, right?
Yeah. So even at Candela,
Yeah.
where I hosted, we had sound issues, but but there was a lot of sound engineering that went into place to actually make it sound nice. Like the staff there was great to do that, but
Yeah.
we still had some sound issues.
That's true. And Gavito had sound issues.
Yeah.
The Biltmore.
Yeah. So I mean, as much as I love the majesty of vaulted ceilings,
Yeah.
there's a pro and con with that.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
and the low ceilings made the sound like really good, really spot on.
Although I
could
think
hear-
you can find fixes for anything, just like Gavito found the fix to the sound issue. I
Yep.
think you found issue like a fix with Mio.
Yep.
So I mean, it can be done. It can be overcome.
Yeah.
And plus, I think the lighting has really helped. Right?
Yeah.
Like the lighting everywhere, just the mood lighting, the accented like
Yeah.
wall color, like it's just nice.
Yeah, no, definitely. They could all be overcome, but like I said, to overcome those things, you need someone with skills,
Right.
and then you need the connections or the money behind it. So if you don't have any of those, you're dealing with an issue. And the other thing I like to say is that Yuli and Melody did a great job with the volunteers this year. They really packed in the volunteers. There's a lot of volunteers who are really helpful. The rooms have been really clean.
The event has run seamless, pretty much. Like it's been without issue. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit later. There was a couple things that they added this day 3, but for the most part, it's been running really smooth.
Of course, because like generally in most competitions, like the last competition I was in before this one, I believe like the competition would be like 3 or 4 hours late sometimes.
Yeah.
Like they'll say, oh, we start at 5, and then like no, they didn't start till 8, and then it pushes everything back.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
as a competitor, I remember the worst thing was sitting in the back there because you couldn't leave until the judges scored you, and then you get out. Now you're hungry, and all the restaurants are closed.
Yeah.
So that was the worst.
Yeah.
But everything ran pretty seamlessly. It might run a little over by 10-15 minutes. That's a given. But the Milanos always start at 9 o'clock, which is great. And if a person wasn't there for the competition, they're not there for the classes. Having a Milano start on time,
It's great.
definitely.
Great. I think speaking about competition, we actually haven't even talked about the updates of the competition.
Oh,
Yes. So I mean, we're heading into the finals. And in general, what do you think about just the level and the have people made it that you expected to make it, or people that you're rooting for make it?
yeah. There are a few people that I'm rooting for that made it. Like Conrad and Delia, for example. They're part of my teammates for the team stage choreography. So I was definitely rooted for them, and I'm glad that they made it. Their performance is definitely a lot better than their first performance at Gavito.
Oh, that was their first performance.
Yeah,
First
so
time performing it. So
yeah, so I'm a bit biased for them.
yeah,
Some of my other friends have made it. I also I'm glad to see in Jack and Jill Ray make it all the way to the finals.
nice.
You know, he's kind of an up and coming guy from Irvine.
Right.
So and that guy he's everywhere. He's gone all in on tango. So to see someone who's moderately new, and just pushing himself every day. That guy's doing back cicadas, and I'm like, I just started doing back cicadas this year, and I'm like 12 years in, So to see a guy just go for it all the time, and then see him progress, and then make the finals in Jack and Jill,
Right.
and didn't he make the finals in Pista also? I don't remember.
We'd have to look at the roster list, but yeah, I'm not sure offhand.
Well, at least he made semifinals for
yeah, even the semis. Yeah. You
So
know who's been like really impressing a lot of people that I've been talking to is the Korean couple,
yeah,
Won Jun and Winnie.
yes, I think they're favored to win.
Which one?
I think they're favored to win Pista.
Pista, Tango Pista.
Yeah. I'm not. I think someone else, I would pick someone else for the Malanga, but definitely I think in terms of cleanliness of execution, in terms of fundamentals, hands down, I think they are the favored.
I definitely thought they performed the best on the semifinal day, which is day 3.
Mm.
Looking back at it, they just seemed very in tune. They flowed very well. They knew the music. They know how to do the rhythmic parts and the slow parts, and they had dynamic. And you just see that they're a couple in real life, of course.
Yeah.
But you could just see it in their dancing. It's just kind of very evident.
Yeah. The other thing, so not to segue off them, but the one thing I also like to point out is I think the Pro-Am has been kind of like the highlight for me, because, the Open, like a lot of professionals can compete in the Open, but the Pro-Am is just one of those spaces where like you get to see people who normally don't compete and want to compete have the opportunity to compete, and at a high level, because you have these professionals taking them in and competing with them.
I love that. That's great.
I wish I had that when I first started. I could have used a hired gun to get to the finals. No, but all joking aside, I think it's great. Especially, I know a lot of people want to compete, but it's so hard to find a partner. And this is just one of those ways. This is one of the ways you can do it. It gives people the opportunity to compete who haven't found a partner. I mean, sure, it might be their teacher or someone that they hired to dance with them, but you know what? It gives them the opportunity, and it gives us the opportunity to not only support them as a competitor, but also, at least respect them for putting themselves out there, because there's a lot of people who are willing to put themselves out there and be judged, but they just don't have the opportunity.
Speaking on that, putting yourself out there, the stage category, which we just saw today, is a great example of that. Right? Yeah. I was just so impressed about some of the people that we know willing to put themselves out there, all eyes on you, tango stage. That was really impressive.
It is.
Right?
And here's the other thing. I think stage has gotten better and better every year. I mean, I remember when we first started competing in Pista, I was like, oh my God, the stage category, roll my eyes, like get this over with. Like, here, like there you go. They're playing like, they're playing like Recuerdo again. Here we go.
Right.
But I like that people really came to their own thing. They're choosing their own music. There's a lot of different songs being played. It's not like your typical Puglia's like top 3 like play on repeat.
Right.
So that's one thing that I appreciate. And the other thing I really appreciate is that it's not all like tricks and jumps.
Right.
Usually, this is my complaint about stage for a long time, is that there's so much focus on athleticism that we kind of lost the artistry.
Yeah.
And I think, the artistry is slowly coming back, and I like what I see right now. I think it's coming back. I think it's going to get better next year when people focus more on the theatrical connection.
Right.
Because I think that's one of the things that detracted me from stage, where like people are so focused on high jumps and crazy kicks,
right,
that you don't see like that these people are have any emotional value in their dance, and I'm seeing a lot more emotional value now, and I put a lot of emphasis on that.
I mean, we saw somebody in a wheelchair.
Yeah, we did.
That was phenomenal.
It was, and you know, and I know some people go, "Oh, that's not tango." You know, some people will say that because, like, how do you have a real connection with just like the fingertips or something? But, I
At the
think
core of it, it's
I was sold.
I was sold too.
You
I
know,
was definitely sold.
and I know some people would just go, "Oh, well, it's just because it's a novelty of the guy in a wheelchair. No one wants to say anything." But no, I think I don't remember his name though. It's Marissa's partner, but I don't remember the gentleman's name. But
I know that's bad because we both know Marissa. That's the thing. Right?
yeah,
So
but I mean, you know, but you know that like I mean, yeah, he wasn't walking with his legs, but you could know like he had to turn. You know, he was leading her with one arm and pulling like the chair the other to spin around.
yeah, that
It was, and sometimes yeah, it was her back leading because
of course.
you know because it's the chair.
Right.
But you know, it's ballsy.
That's so creative and so courageous. There was people in tears.
Yeah, there were
watching that performance.
there were. So you know, hats off to you to Marissa. You know I didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect to see this.
I didn't even know she was doing stage. This was all a secret to me. I was blown away. I mean, I captured it on video, and even as magical I think that it looks on the video that I captured, it was just the beauty after they finished, the roar of the crowd when they finished was just something majestic.
I would say, you know, I'd be surprised if they don't place.
Right, I would be too.
And if they don't place, at least I think they deserve the People's Choice Award.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, that was the biggest standing ovation I heard today.
Oh yeah, by far.
You know,
by far.
So hats off to you, Marissa. I know she's, you know, she really came along. You know, coming from salsa and like, you know, going on and off again in tango and finding her way. You know, Jerry's done a great job with her and helping her find her, you know, her base in tango.
Yeah,
So.
I loved it. That was just so heartwarming. There was I'm gonna be honest as well. There were a lot of mess ups on the first day of stage, or was it the semifinals of stage because there were only 2 days. But I think it's just I admire people. I would never knock anyone that goes out there and does any kind of stage or choreography because hats off to you just for getting out there first of all, and. But I definitely think it was definitely I do not envy the judges who had to grade that stage category on the semifinals because like how do you measure that? Like the couples that I thought that were gonna do exceedingly well had some glaring mistakes.
Yeah.
And so it kind of like makes everything evened out if you think about it.
Yeah, I don't envy the judges for to being put in that position, but this is my thought on stage is that I think a lot of people don't give stage enough credit.
What do you
know? Well,
they just say choreo.
Yeah,
so
they just say, you know, there's no real leader follow. Okay.
Nah.
You know, I'm going to tell you right now, like, I thought that. I really thought that. I'm like, oh, they're just doing choreography, you know, dance with the start, you know. But until you know, so I'm actually performing in tomorrow's showcase with the stage team choreo.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. But, you know, for a 3-minute song, it took us 6 months. And we're still not perfect. You know? We can use another 2 months, I'll be honest with you. We can use another 2 months. But you know, it takes so much energy because it's not just the choreo. You really do have to lead everything because if you don't lead and follow appropriately, it looks bad.
Right.
It really looks bad. And not I mean
and that's the thing, because like stage, it's so easy to look bad. I'm gonna be honest. I remember the first time I tried to do a choreography, and I watched ourselves, and I was horrified. I thought we were going so fast, and it looks like we're out there and we're in slow motion.
Yeah.
Like that's like we were putting our all, and it looks like we're out there moving at a snail's pace.
Yeah. And then like the anxiety, the anxiety sets in really quickly because it's all eyes on you.
Right.
The other thing I want to say is that like, even if you lead and follow well, it still might not even look good because like you have to sell it. You have to sell the theatrics.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot like in social dancing, you're selling the dance to each other. Like you're dancing for each other, right?
Right.
You're both invested to have a good dance with each other.
Mm-hmm.
In stage, the audience has no incentive to be invested in your dance.
That's interesting.
You know, like I had no like 6 years ago, 10 years ago, I had no like I didn't care.
Right.
Like someone like whatever, and that's the thing is like if you don't captivate the person within the first few seconds, they're on their phone like okay, when's this gonna end?
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
And so I think stage is very very difficult, and you really have to like go for it. Like there is no half-assing in stage. It's like you go for it, you throw it all, everything on the table, you go all in, and you hope for the best.
Right.
So hats off to everyone on stage.
Seriously. What about you and Jack and Jill?
Jack and Jill, you know what? That was a rough ride. You know what? Here's the thing.
I'm glad I also said I'm glad I did not do Jack and Jill this year.
Here's the thing.
Because there was it was tough. There was like a lot of 3 rounds.
It was 3 rounds. And I think I had you know what? I like the music that was selected for us.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing I would say. Well, before we go into Jack and Jill, what I love about SoCal is that I like all the music in all the rounds.
Right.
Because sometimes in some championships, you've got some like, let's test these guys on something really, really obscure. Let's see if he knows how to dance the Gobi.
Yeah.
I mean, or like let's find like something that like just to trip him up. And
Right.
And I think that in this we're just highlighting the best of the best. Like let's put everything out.
Yeah,
like,
put some good songs that people love dancing to, so they can put it their all into.
Yeah.
It, right.
So that's one thing I really appreciate about SoCal.
Yeah.
And for Jack and Jill, I got great songs. I think everyone got great songs.
Right.
But I danced my heart out. Got eliminated, not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't expecting to go far. My heat was really stacked. But here's the thing, and this is one thing that I walked away from. I didn't walk away from, but that I got out of it. Because a lot of people were saying, like, Rob, why do you want to do Jack and Jill? Because, like, there's pros in Jack and Jill. You're not a pro. There's all these good people. There's like Argentine teachers in there and everything. Why do you want to do Jack and Jill?
Seriously.
It
was stacked.
But here's the thing. Even for me, I walked away with something great. And what I think that greatness is that I was able to push myself beyond and just go for everything. Like I wasn't playing conservative. I wasn't just trying to make it to the next round.
Right.
Like I knew that if I didn't put in 120, I had no chance of making it.
Right.
So I think it's one of those things when you have your back against the wall and the only way through is forward. It really does something to you, and I think it helps people have that breakthrough.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I got eliminated, so what?
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, you know what? I think it made me a better dancer today, and it will make me a better dancer tomorrow.
That's a good way to look at it, yeah.
And I think, if anything, everyone should not be afraid to compete along the same lines as a professional, because ultimately, it's like,
like we shouldn't have pro Jack and Jill and amateur Jack and Jill.
No, we should. Well, maybe down the line, because if people feel like they should, if people feel like, oh, hey, let's have an amateur one.
Yeah.
We don't have the numbers for that right now.
Exactly.
It's just open. But what I want to say is like that shouldn't detract people, because ultimately, if your goal is to be a better dancer, then competing with better people and competing among better people and studying among better people makes you a better dancer.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to be like the big fish in the little pond, this is not the place to be.
And Jack and Jill, going in, that it's for fun. Like it's like you don't know who you're gonna get. It's not like you've ever. Sometimes like last year, I danced with almost every single person I danced with. I've never danced with them in my entire life.
Yeah.
And so you go in there knowing that okay, this is gonna be a total crapshoot, and I'm just gonna try my best and we'll see what happens, right? Mm-hmm. And I also shout outs to all the judges, the great maestros of this festival as the judges, because they judged for such a long time. I know they do the switching, like half of them, they do one half and the other do the half. But I was just sitting watching Jack and Jill when you were out there, and I was like, how in the world do you evaluate
24
people in 3 songs? That is almost impossible.
Well, not just that. Like, let's say someone messed up. Who messed up?
Right.
Like, was it the lead's fault or was it the follow's fault? Or what was it?
Mm-hmm.
But any which way, like, it's a great time out there.
Right.
And I think it's more. what I like about the Jack and Jill, if anything, it's like the spirit of competition. And it's not a serious like, we're gonna send you to the Jack and Jill's Mundial or anything like that, the World Series of Jack and Jill. No, no, there's none of that. But I think
Yeah.
what it is that it's for the spirit of competition.
Right.
And like as much as people believe that competition has destroyed the tango community,
Why do you always say that?
because people complain about it all the time in my circles.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess I just been like I don't know. It's just
Because I always hear people like, "Oh, competition hurts tango." They're all like, "Because it's a community, we should all get along. We shouldn't be competing against each other." This is my 2 cents. You know what? If you're in the competitor's room, everyone's clapping, everyone's cheering. It doesn't matter. Even when you get eliminated, everyone's congratulating you. You
Right.
put yourself out there. That there's a certain amount of respect that you receive, even from like the victors. So like as much as people, as much as some people don't like competition and believe it's the bane of tango.
Right.
I view it very differently because between competitors, between competitors, I think it's a very supportive community.
Absolutely. I mean, I've met some of the coolest people just from the competitions I took part of.
Yeah, and even if and rivalry's not bad either. I mean, like there are people that I'm like, oh, I gotta, I get, you gotta push ahead, because this guy's like running laps around me. But it doesn't mean I hate this person.
I mean, shoot, I'm known as like the third place guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Well, hey, I haven't even got my third place yet, so I'm still trailing behind you. But it's not like I was like, oh my God, Derek, like I'm out to get you because like you get your third place first. It's none of that. Like we've been best buds for a long time, so
Yeah.
it's and like you've helped me out, and I've also thrown a few inputs here and there.
Right.
It's not like we're at each other's neck like it's like a UFC fight or anything like that.
I think the greatest thing I learned from competitions is I looked at my dance and like I could see like, wow, I'm weak in this area and I need this. I need to be more this. And I just learned so much with watching videos of yourself and watching videos of the competition, asking the judges what they thought about my dancing. I remember every single tip that all the maestros gave me over all the years, and I worked on it, right? Derek, you need to be more dynamic. So I went like for a couple years trying to be more dynamic in my dance. Derek, you need to be a little bit more flowing to the phrases of the music. And then I just try to find a few phrases of the music. And so I think it's just, and because I didn't win, I mean, for the initially, it just made me grind and what can I do more? What can I do more? What can I do more? Coming back year after year after year. Whereas had I won the very first year I competed, I don't know if I would have had that same improvement outlook.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because I think I think it's one of those things people always say like, like champions are made, they're not born. And I think it's kind of true because like, it's the hardship of losing so many times and trying to better yourself that makes the win that much worth it.
Right.
Like the trophy now has value.
Right.
Like if you got it easy, then it's like, was it, like you just toss away. There's no sentiment. Like it doesn't show how. It's not like a signifier of where your hard work went.
Right.
So no, I agree with you on that. And I'd like to see more people compete. I'd like to see more people practice. I'd like to see more people, ask you and me to say, hey, can you video me while we're practicing and tell us what you think, or can or just video it so they can like just watch it. We have that at your practica.
Right.
People ask us to. I'd like to see more of that.
Because tango is about a lot about feeling, right?
Yeah.
The feeling of the dance, and sometimes you think you feel a certain way, but then the video doesn't lie.
The
Right?
video.
That's the important thing. The video never lies.
Yeah. So, but that's an interesting topic you brought up, and maybe we should like segue this for later. Because the Milonga's been going on for a bit.
Yeah. Definitely.
But one thing it's a question for us, maybe continue next time, which is, what's important, feel or looks? Because remember, James Friedgen wrote that little thing back then about competition, where he said you can't judge people because you don't know how they feel. Remember?
Yes, I remember.
And and tango is about the feel.
I have a
So
whole side story on James Friedgen, but we're running out of short on time here.
we are, and I'm missing out. I'm missing out in DK Quinn tonight. In my opinion, one of the best DJs in LA, especially on the vinyl. So we're missing on good music, and yes.
Yes, we'll catch back up on the final day. It's gonna be exciting tomorrow. The finals, we get to see the winners of every category, and the best milongas happen on Sunday.
Yep.
Because everyone has now got the weight off their shoulders. They don't have to worry about and tomorrow going to the finals or whatever. Everyone's more relaxed, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Carlos and Maite's team showcase.
What a shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Watch me in it, man. I put 6 months in this. All right, now let's go dance, buddy.
All right.